Maryland. I'm here at the Metro DC African Immigrants Caucus. It was wonderful here today. We had many delegates from Montgomery County, Maryland. We had delegates such as County Executive of Montgomery County, Ike Leggett. We had Anthony Brown, Charles Loler, and we also had the 4 candidates for government of Maryland. This was an immigrant caucus. We want to see what the government and community can do to help improve immigration reform, which is very important for us today. We feel as though in the African community, we need to have a voice for the community so they can know that there are many people that do care about what happens in the community. So you'll be watching highlights from the event today. Very important, something that you need to know and find out more about. You will hear from these delegates themselves and what they feel about the African community and also immigration reform. So stay tuned. You will be seeing many important information that's going on. Thank you again. This is Fatmata Koroma with Celebrity Health Talk.
I'd like to welcome a few others who have joined us. Among us is Dr. Stanley Onye, who is also running for Delegate District 25 from Georgia County. County Executive Isaiah Leggett. We also have Remain Bayou, running for Democratic leadership team. Welcome to the African Immigrant Caucus. Tonight we will ask each candidate how they, not their staff, will relate to us Africans if elected governor. We will be asking them to spend half a day with us before the start of the General Assembly in order to get to know us and to hear our top issues. So, Lieutenant Governor Brown, Attorney General Gansler, Mr. Lauder, and Delegate Monsieur, I welcome you to the African Immigrant Caucus First Assembly. Please stand. Before you address us tonight, I would like to set some ground rules and let you know the order in which you'll be speaking tonight. Each of you has been given 5 minutes to speak. Please show us some respect tonight. We don't expect you to go into your speech, your campaign speech. We don't expect you to attack each other. Will you take half a day to get to know the African immigrant?
Thank you so much. Yes, the answer is yes. Not only is the answer yes, it's not something I go kicking and screaming about. I can't wait. I love it. I've been reading books by Africans, meeting with Africans. I grew up here in this area, Washington, D.C. I grew up in Chevy Chase, living in Bethesda. Have been meeting with and getting to know the African community all through my career here in Maryland and watching the African community grow and watching the African community strengthen itself. Bishop Johnson said, African by birth, American by choice. I love that. And, it doesn't matter what you look like or what your last name is, we are all, somebody in our family made that decision to come to this great country. And we need to understand that, recognize that, reform our immigration laws, stop tearing families apart for no reason. My campaign has Africans on it. Chris Asuji is here from Nigerian heritage, and he runs our Prince George's county operation. But that's not because I think it's like, a good thing to do. I'm a Democrat. It's because it's the right thing to do. Our government institutions should reflect the people that they serve. And as evidenced by this room and our everyday life, we serve the African community here in Maryland, and we need to continue to do that. My running mate, Jolene Ivey, yes, it will be historic when she gets elected. She'll be our country's first, our party's first, and our country's first African-American female lieutenant governor. But it's much more than that. It's much more than that. She's the chair of the Prince George's County delegation, respected by all her peers, and she started a nonprofit, a national nonprofit, that deals with women of color around parenting issues called Mocha Moms. And so we're excited, Jolene and I. She actually was a sponsor of the undocumented bill for driver's licenses that we now have here in Maryland, and we're proud to have that.
Welcome, Africans by birth, Americans by choice, and Marylanders by God's blessing. Address in just a short 5 minutes that I have, tackling the income inequality gap, addressing the achievement gap, and ending status quo politics in Annapolis. On the income inequality gap, my father was a United Auto worker for 32 years. He was a factory welder. And when I was 9 years old, we went on strike for 6 months, and we had to live on $45 a week strike pay. Now, during that time, I learned how to stretch a dollar to make ends meet, but I also began a lifetime commitment of addressing the income inequality gap for our middle-class families. I want to make sure that we don't have a minimum wage. We have a living wage of $16.70 an hour by 2022. The minimum wage legislation that we passed in Annapolis this year isn't good enough. It won't get to $10.10 until 2018, when the next governor is running for re-election. She's not going to stand for that. If we bring back the millionaire's tax, which was allowed to expire by the current administration, we make millionaires pay their fair share. Guess what? Everybody else gets 90% tax cut. I'm promising a tax cut for 90% of all of our families and seniors by bringing that millionaire's tax back. And another way we make our tax code more fair is to close one corporate loophole that exists that allows a handful of companies to get off without paying their fair share. They're multi-state companies, they operate in other states, and they take the money that they make in Maryland and they hide it on their books in those other states. Well, our small businesses in this state don't get to benefit like that. We need to close that loophole, bring in that $200 million that they're avoiding taxes, and guess what? I give it to the small businesses as meaningful tax relief for the small businesses. I saw how many of you stood up. I'm also a small business owner, and I'm the only one in this race with a plan to help you grow. When we invest in early childhood education to give all of our children a chance to enter school ready to learn at the exact same pace, we eliminate those disparities and make sure that every child is able to dream big and be successful. So the Coates administration is going to have a truly universal pre-K plan, one that provides a full day for 4-year-olds and a half day for our 3-year-olds, and also important quality investments in after-school and summer initiatives. These are expensive priorities, and the way we pay for it is acknowledging that our war on drugs has been a failure. That African Americans and African immigrants go to jail 3 times more often than whites for using marijuana, and we're going to say no to that and bring in $160 million of new revenue to pay for our early childhood education. I'm Heather Museum. I ask for your support on June 24th.
You didn't answer my question. I still need you to answer my question. Will you commit to spending half a day to get to know the applicant?
Maybe I was just wanting to get some extra time. No, seriously, I'm sorry. I just got so fired up when we got up here and started talking. You know, the question almost, I wish you didn't even have to ask that question, right? It's crazy. Tababa Sefa, I know, is here. He's an African small business owner. I've sat down with him and small business owners all across the city. Absolutely, the AIC is going to have a in September. But we're going to meet together all the time, regularly, just as we already have been doing. And I look forward to our ongoing dialogue with each other.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Let me thank the African. Talk with a lesson of service. He also showed me that not all doctors are wealthy. I graduated law school about 20 years ago, and every day I showed my father that not all lawyers are wealthy either. But I have truly appreciated the opportunity to serve as Lieutenant Governor in the Maryland General Assembly, and yes, for 30 years, including a year of duty in Iraq, serving each and every one of us with patriotic Americans in service to our country. Because like you, I love America. So yes, my only question is this, because I got a question for you. Who's managing the calendar? Because I'm ready to schedule that time right now. Presumptuous there, Anthony. I've never seen an Army soldier be a Marine. That was my proof. Let me start out by answering the question. I'm going to finish my comments the same way. Yes, without a doubt. Our administration will do that, but a whole lot more, because I'm going to ask you to do some things as well. But before I get too far into my comments, you will actually have media covering this. That's outstanding. And I want to say to those that will play this tonight at 7, 11, and tomorrow, don't miscarry what you see here. There's a lot of pride in this room. But you notice it was American by choice. We don't purposely like to hyphenate ourselves, but sometimes we get put in a position where we have to. So we stay strong and we're firm in where we're going, but I want to make sure that the media doesn't think this is hate talk. This is love talk for a country that we all love. It's time to be inclusive. And it's time to bring all of Maryland together. Now, as much as I love my fellow Democrats, they don't corner the whole section of love and understanding for immigrants. My father, although I'm African American, I must say this. I was African by African American born by choice. But I wasn't necessarily brought here by choice. So I know that you're going all the way home. That's a little bit to put that together. But one of the reasons why you have to answer these kinds of questions is because we have an immigration system that's broken. Rewarding, in some cases, unfairly different regions of the world that come to our country. We can do better than that. But until we start communicating that across the entire state, because whether you're the Western Maryland or Eastern Shore, there's such a difference in understanding with the struggles that we all go through. Some would dare say, can I do that for a second? Some would dare say that you don't pay your fair share. You just stood up and said you own homes. You're paying property taxes. You're paying sales taxes. Last I checked, that makes you an American. But we need to make sure we have the kind of voice that's bringing people together and not segregating people. Especially for the purposes of winning an election.
Charles Love. Go.